Moments ago at the White House, we heard from President Biden giving his first answer on those mysterious drone sightings that have been seen in the skies over several states.
Nothing nefarious, apparently, but they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody's wanting to get in the deal. But we're following it closely. So far, no sense of danger.
That comment sounding similar to what we heard from members of the House Intelligence Committee after they received a classified briefing today from the intelligence community. My congressional source tonight was in that briefing. Illinois Democrat Congressman Krishnamoorthi joins me now. Nothing nefarious, apparently. I don't know if that's satisfying to a lot of people. Did you get a better answer in your briefing today?
Yeah, I think that what they were trying to convey to us is that they could explain away the vast majority of the 5,000 incidents that were referred to them. What I have said is they need to be more forthcoming about that information to the public. So if you believe that something is a manned aircraft or an amateur recreational drone, then why don't you share that with the public? There are about 100 incidents that they're still digging into, so we need to still hear about those. But overall, I didn't hear evidence of a foreign power threat or some other nefarious activity.
So they don't think it has anything to do with an adversary? Because I want you to listen to what Mike McCall, a Republican, your colleague of yours, had to say today to reporters.
I believe they're spy drones. And the PRC, Chinese Communist China, is very good at this stuff. And we know they bought land around military bases. This would be very consistent with their policy over the last couple of years. We're not getting answers, and I think it's because our government does not know who is behind them.
Does that line up with what you heard in the briefing, or?
Not exactly, but I think that, as I said, there are about 100 incidents where we are still awaiting information. I think one thing that really stood out in this particular briefing is that there's both a lack of technology as well as resources for both drone detection and takedown by different law enforcement and other agencies. And also there's a lack of legal authorities and rules and regulations to enable them to do what they have to do to protect the homeland.
How worried are you about those 100 or so incidents that they're still digging into? How worried did they seem about those?
They didn't seem concerned, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't follow up, and that's what we're going to have to do.
Do you believe that briefing should have been classified at all? Why is it classified if they're saying it's manned aircraft or hobbyist?
Well, I think because of the foreign adversary issue, being able to ask candid questions about, did this adversary have anything to do with this, or did this other one, and how do you know for sure?
I want to ask you about something else that the president-elect has said in recent days, which is talking about TikTok having a warm spot in his heart. Obviously, you wrote the bill, you introduced the law that would force the Chinese parent company to sell it or face banishment in the U.S. coming January 19th, the day before Trump takes office. Are you worried that Trump is not going to enforce that ban?
No, I actually met with his incoming National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, who is my colleague and friend. And the sense that I get from them is that they don't want to see a TikTok controlled by the CCP. So the best way to both preserve TikTok and make sure that it's not controlled by the CCP is to have ByteDance sell TikTok. And so now they need to accept the law and make that happen.
Trump met with Shou Chew yesterday, who is the CEO of TikTok. I understand Mike Waltz, the incoming national security advisor, saying one thing, but if Trump comes into office and doesn't enforce it, what will Democrats do? And also, what will you want your Republican colleagues who voted for that to do?
Well, the only way that this law is going away is if he encourages and then gets it repealed. That's not going to happen. 360 votes in the House for this particular bill, a huge majority in the Senate. And so I think it's going to continue to be the law of the land, as the D.C. Circuit Court said last week.
Let me ask you about a leadership fight that's been playing out inside your party for who is going to be the ranking Democrat on top committees in your party that are going to have a lot of influence potentially over a Trump administration, or certainly responding to it. Jerry Connolly beat out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Do you think that's the right person to lead the House Oversight Committee?
I think Jerry's a very able leader. I think Alex Ocasio-Cortez is excellent too. I thought we had an abundance of talent competing today, and I think that he's going to do a great job.
Some of the arguments we heard was that it was maybe time for generational leadership change in terms of who's in charge of these committees, that there is no, term limit, as Mike McCall, the Republican there, knows he's term limited out. Do you think that there should be term limits for Democrats on these committees?
Well, I think seniority is no longer the defining kind of characteristic or trait that's going to decide these leadership elections, as you can tell. And I think now we're in a new world, right? I mean, Donald Trump won the presidency, and so now we have to obviously put our best foot forward, and whoever is the best person to take the baton in any given committee should get elected.
And do you believe Jerry Connolly is that person?
I think Jerry definitely was a very, very good candidate.
Who did you support?
I'm not going to say it's at this time, but I'm going to say that I was supportive of both Jerry and Alex being elected.
That sounds like you may not have supported Mr. Connolly.
I very much supported Jerry's candidacy, in the end becoming the chair of the committee, a ranking member of the committee.
Congressman, great to have you here. We'll look forward to talking to you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Up next here.